Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today we're going to be painting day 5 Christmas card in our Christmas card series. I will be posting Christmas cards every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday up until Christmas. So please subscribe so that you'll know when I'm posting them. And for today we're going to be doing this cute little Christmas present card. So the card is going to be a Christmas present. And what I'm going to start doing is just wetting the whole card so we have a little bit of time for our paint to dry. So we're just going to take some clean water. Everything I'm using will be listed down below, so you don't have to worry. You can just look. I'm going to try to have everything there. If you're not sure, you can always ask in the comments, and I will answer you as best I can. Now I've just got this extra little sheet of paper under my card just because I want to go up to the border. So I've got this little piece of tape just to save the back of the card, but the rest of it I want to go up to the border of the card. So I've just got this extra piece of paper here. It wouldn't matter if I, paint on my desk. I can just wipe that off. It's watercolor. It'll wipe right off, but this just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so now that we've got that, a little bit wet, just gives us, a few extra minutes to play with, I'm going to mix up a red. So I'm going to take a little bit of, just put a little bit of water there, and I'm going to go in with cadmium red Hue Deep and a little bit of alizarin crimson, just to make a nice bright red. And some water. And this is what we're going to paint all over our card. So this part's pretty easy. This whole card's going to be pretty easy. I'm all about easy. You do want to be quick because you don't want it to settle anywhere and dry too much, but okay. So we've got that. I'm going to go with just a little bit more alizarin crimson right around the edges. Okay. Now I'm just going to get a little bit more water here, and I'm going to mix up some alizarin crimson with just maybe some neutral tint. Oh, that's a little dark. So we'll mix it here on the side. Some neutral tint alizarin crimson. We'll put some of this in there too, just to brighten it up. And I'm just going to go along just the edges here. And just make a bit of a, a shadow. And as it dries, it's going to just mix with the rest of the paint. Okay? And I'm going to take that color. Okay, we're going to let that dry, and then we'll go in and start filling in our bow with our shadows and everything. Okay, so now that our card is dry, we're going to go in and do a little bit more darker areas. So I'm going to take some more of that alizarin crimson into this, and I'm just going to pull a little bit of that Payne's Gray. It's going to make it like a little bit darker, like a purpley dark, maybe just a touch of black in there. Okay, So we're going to paint on our shadow areas. So it's going to be in here. Here. Under here. And I'm just kind of flicking to kind of feather it out a little bit. So it's not such a harsh line, but and I'm just kind of at this point, my paint's pretty dry on my brush, so it's almost like dry brushing. I'm just kind of letting that paint fade out really as it wants to. Okay, sorry about that. Somebody just came to the door, so I had to pause for a moment and go get that. No big deal. We're just going to carry on. So I'm just going to keep adding some of those shadows into the shadow areas. Now some of this is probably already dry, yeah, so we'll just carry on. So I'm just defining some of the shadows just so that there's a difference between the background bow and the foreground bow. It's the same bow, but the background one would be a little bit darker. Okay, so we're gonna let this dry now, and then we'll go back in again, because some places it's just starting to lift up, so I'll see you when it's dry. Okay, so now that all of our darks are in and it's dry, it's gonna look a little funny, but there's a method to the madness. So now that that's all in, we wanna separate this front bow from the background. So I'm gonna do a wash of just cadmium red Hue Deep over the bow, just to brighten it up and to make it a little bit different from the background. And then the background will stay a little bit muted, so the bow will end up a little bit brighter. And since we've already got our, shadows in there, it's all gonna kind of come together. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of water here, just to be able to mix up some color. So we're gonna get our bright cadmium color. And I'm just going to do a wash of this over our entire bow. So anywhere I just get outside of the bow that I don't want it, I'm just lifting it up. Doesn't have to be super precise. Now you could have gone in and, you know, painted the bow and then painted the background. But this, I find, especially for a beginner, it's just easier to lay your colors in and then just throw it on top. Since watercolor are transparent medium, you can layer like this, and that's part of the appeal of them, I find. And I'm just going into some areas that I find still need a little more red to it. I'm adding, you know, especially on this top bow here. And you want to be careful not to scrub too much because it can start lifting some of that base color. And then we're just going to go right over top of this. There, so I think we're gonna leave that there, let it dry, and then we'll come back when it's dry. Okay, so now that our card is dry, you can really see how that wash of color just made that bow pop a little bit more, and now the shadows don't look so stark. But what I'm going to do next, because I just love red and gold, I'm going to take this Winsor and Newton gold ink, and I'm just going to go along some of the edges of the ribbon just to really make them pop. And I'm just taking a number 2, I believe, yeah, just a number 2, and we're just going to make our ribbon pop. So some of the edges here right along. So it doesn't matter if we were super precise, because we can just fix it at this stage. And this ink is great because it's really opaque, so it just covers up everything. So I'm just going to hit all the edges. So you want to make sure that when you're at this stage that your watercolor is extremely dry, because the ink is a wet medium, so it will pick it up. And if at any point you find that the ink is just not running or not opaque as it was, you can just stop and mix up your bottle. I might have to do that at some point here. Just mix up the bottle again, and it will just get the ink kind of mixed together, because once it starts separating, then it's not as opaque. And I'm just kind of mixing it up in the bottle as I go too. right, and I think I've got all of the little edges of our bow. So I think that's going to be our card for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this, and if you did, please give a thumbs up to the video, hit the like button, and subscribe for more Christmas cards. So I'll see you guys in the next one.